that explaining that fall in the precious metals. But let's talk about the budget that's due tomorrow, and to weigh in on what can we expect from the budget, we are now joined by Keshav Bhajanka, who's the Executive Director, Century Plyboards, who's joining us now. Hi, Mr. Bhajanka. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us. Mr. Bhajanka, first things first, tomorrow is a very big day that everyone will be watching out for. The entire market, investors are keenly watching out for the budget tomorrow. Firstly, what are your budget expectations from tomorrow?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I think that for this budget, one of the big expectations is the government continues to spend and focus on infrastructure, which they have been doing for the past few years. As you know, our sector is very closely linked to the real estate sector, and investment in infrastructure will definitely aid growth in the real estate sector. Alongside the above, I think that, we're all working towards a more sustainable and a greener India. So we are hoping that some initiatives will be brought in towards green building, towards more sustainable building and development. And if there are certain tax incentives or other incentives that are given to green buildings, it will help us in achieving our mission to make India a greener economy. Lastly, I think the definition of affordable housing needs to be changed in line with the current realities of the market. Today, I think the limit is 45 lakh rupees. We are hoping that this limit is increased to 1 crore plus.
Right. Mr. Bhajanka, so like you mentioned, your industry is very closely linked to the real estate sector. What are your expectations from the budget specifically for the real estate sector, or, the announcement that could perhaps affect your industry?
So I think, like I said, most of the above have been towards real estate. If you ask me, one more initiative that we could perhaps look at is that under the new tax regime, there isn't any tax deduction for home loan interest, for interest on home loans, which was there in the earlier tax regime. So we are hoping that the government will bring this as a measure of relief for home buyers as well. I think all of the above, if they are done together, or even if some of them are done, they could perhaps boost the real estate sector. As you know, that the target for the real estate sector is to go up from contributing 7% of GST up till 15% of GST, maybe over the course of the next 2 decades. So we're hoping that these steps will help us in achieving the same.
Right. But Mr. Bhajanka, talk to us about the demand on ground. What has been the demand? Have you seen a slowdown in the urban demand, thus far in the last 2 quarters?
I think in our case, because for us, our products start being used when it goes from a house to a home. When someone buys the house and starts doing it up for their family or for themselves, that is when our demand starts. So I think post-COVID, all the real estate inventory that was then the system earlier got exhausted. There was a lot of sale. Now the new inventory is hitting the market. So I think while demand has not been very robust in the past 2 quarters, like you rightly pointed out, going forward, we should see a good demand scenario.
Right. Also, what are the key levers of growth for you going ahead? Now, whether the budget comes out in your favor or not, going ahead, like you mentioned, the quarters have been muted for, in general for real estate ancillaries, if you will. But going ahead, what are going to be the triggers for growth for you?
So, like I said, the new inventory that is likely to hit the market, that will definitely help us, and that should act as a trigger for growth. Alongside the same, I think that consumer sentiment towards branded products, particularly in our segment, is improving. So both of these put together should act as very strong tailwinds for our sector.
Right. Also, Mr. Bhajanka, tomorrow, if you had the chance of going and whispering something to the FM, what would that be? What would be your personal ask from the finance minister?
I would say that, continue doing the good work that is being done. And at the same time, let's focus on real estate more, because this is likely to be the growth driver for the economy going forward.
All right, Mr. Bhajanka, thank you so much. I hope FM is listening to the demands of India Inc. and I hope that's taken into account. And a budget is a win-win for everyone. But we'll let you go on that note. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Well, let's talk about the markets then.